So morning, everybody. As most of you know, I'm relatively new to this group. I've only been around a few weeks. So I deliberately thought that this morning I would spend a little bit more time telling you about me, as opposed to about UW as a business. And so, yeah, this is mainly about kind of me, you know, where I've come from, how I got to where I am now, and really why I do what I do, because you know, the why behind what we do is the most important part, isn't it, I guess. So yeah, so here's a few pictures of me and my life. I am a mum, a wife, most importantly married to Ben. My daughter Madison is 9, and what do we do? The most important things to us in our life are family, live music, traveling, and for those eagle eyes amongst you, one of our big loves, we are massive Strictly fans. So one of those photos you can see there is me and my sister and our 2 daughters at the live Strictly show, showing our 10 paddles, and yes, we are all about music and dancing. One of our other big passions in life is traveling. So we do skiing. We took Madison skiing for her first time at the beginning of this year, and we've just booked our next family skiing holiday through Alison Cooper. So we are going again in February. We love travelling our own country. We have it on our bucket list to do pretty much every nook and cranny of our own country with our camping stuff. So we love camping, but we also love the sun, absolutely love the sun. I am a sun worshipper. Give me a swimming pool and a sunbed and you will find me happily there whiling away the hours. Apart from that, what do we do in our spare time? I am all about my animals. I'm an animal lover, and that's why Steph's here today. One of the things I do is volunteer at our local RSPCA centre, because despite all the animals I've got at home, I can't get enough of them, and I go and spend time with them at the RSPCA centre as well. So just to give you an introduction to our feathered and furry housemates, we have 2 cats, Oreo, who you can see there chilling out in his yellow blanket, Ruby, who you can see, as you know, why wouldn't you expect to see a cat with her head in the bin? Don't know what she was doing. We also have an aviary in our back garden, and all of our animals are rescued or rehomed in some way. So our aviary in our back garden contains rescued cockatiels, budgies, finches, as well as 2 rabbits and 2 guinea pigs that live in the bottom there. So yeah, there are more feathered and furry housemates than there are human housemates, but we coexist wonderfully together, and that's us as a family. Me as I was going to say a professional, I don't know if you'd ever really use that word about me, but my working career so far, I spent the first 20 years employed. I think as did probably a lot of us in this room. You know, a lot of us end up in self-employment because we've got a bit disillusioned with the employed world, haven't we? But it took me 20 years to realise I was a bit disillusioned with the employed world. So I started out in recruitment. I went through financial services for 6 years. My God, that was dull. Sorry, Wendy, each to their own. And then I spent 15 years in marketing. I worked in a design, print and distribution company, so supplier side, working with some amazing global clients like Mars Chocolate, Mars Pet Food, Boots, Starbucks, McDonald's, you know, some amazing clients. But then I also equally liked working with the smaller local clients. That's actually where I tended to find I got my most satisfaction from doing my work. However, things changed, as I know it does for a lot of people. I became a parent, and my whole world shifted on its axis. You know, I'd spent 20 years following this plan that I'd been sold since I was at school. You know, go out and get a good education, get a job, work your way up the ladder. You know, it's all about the money and the job. I became a parent, and my world changed. My perspective on life changed. My definition of success changed, and that was quite disconcerting. It took me a while to work out that you know, the success plan that everybody else had told me that life was about kind of wasn't really for me, and I started redefining what success meant for me, and that's been quite a journey for me over the last sort of 9-10 years since my daughter arrived. A few, life happens to us along the way, so some of the things that happened to me that I think really kind of define who I am now, and why I do what I do. We as a family growing up, I think quite traditionally for my mum and dad's generation, my dad was the breadwinner, so my dad was the one out at work. We didn't see him a lot during the week. He often stayed away, Monday to Friday. He was a bit of a weekend dad. So my dad was that person who was the successful breadwinner, but never around with the family. Conversely, my mum was the stay-at-home mum, which was lovely for us as kids, but it actually meant that she was very financially dependent on my dad. That's fine as a couple whilst they were working together as a couple, but when they separated, that was extremely traumatic for my mum. It nearly broke her kind of financially and emotionally, and that had a huge impact on us as a family, and certainly me in terms of growing up into not just an adult but becoming a parent myself. That had quite an impact on me. My father-in-law was one of my heroes in life, dare I say it. He was one of my favourite people on this planet. Me and my husband have been together 22 years now, so he was a big part of our life. Phil, my father-in-law. Sadly, we lost him 7 years ago. He'd worked all his life as a special education needs teacher. He dedicated 40 years of his life to that profession. He loved it, but it gradually ate away at him because of all the bureaucracy and the paperwork. And he retired at the age of 65, having given more than 40 years service to that profession. And he'd worked all of his life to have to enjoy his money and his life in his retirement. And he passed away within 18 months of retiring. So he never got to live the life that he'd saved, all that time and money for. And that really hit me between the eyes as an experience that I went through with my husband, his son. For me, that was a really big wake-up call. Madison was not yet 2. She'd lost her granddad. He was never going to see her grow up. And most importantly for me, it made me realise that life is for living now and in this moment. It's not about working and hoping that you reach a retirement age where you have both the money and the health left to enjoy life at that part. So that was a really big kind of life lesson for me. You add all of that to, my experience growing up with my parents. And for me now as a parent, what's really important to me is that I'm present with Madison while she's growing up. But also that I show Madison that life isn't just about selling your life for a salary and a job. Life really is for enjoying and living now. It's not delaying it for some time in the future. So really everything I do is about that for us as a family now. And importantly, showing Madison as well that financial independence is key to that. So what do I do? You all know me as a UW partner, but for me, UW is just part of the whole picture. Actually, what's really important to me is that I have several streams of income, because for me, that represents freedom as opposed to being tied to one thing and one source of income. Many of you know me from networking over the last several years. You've heard me talk about my marketing coaching. You've heard me talk about the workshops that I run as a mentor for mums. But I'm working on building passive streams of income as well. We have buy-to-let properties, and I'll be adding to that portfolio next year. So I'll be having a conversation with Claire about mortgages. And we're in the process of creating an Airbnb in the annex in our new home as well. So we'll have another stream of income. So when you add in all of those and my husband's salary, actually we are a household currently of 6 income streams with a 7th to be added in the next several months. And that's really important to me. As I said earlier, you might have been expecting that this was going to be an insight about UW, but actually it's not. For me, UW is a subtopic to who I am and what I'm doing and what's important to us as a family. I'm really passionate about protecting ourselves as a family financially. And for me, that's about having multiple streams of income. It's not having all your eggs in one basket. And I think that's probably not just sensible, but essential in today's economy. That protection of not relying on any one thing is really important. My vision, my 10-year plan, if you like, is essentially to be earning more and working less. And for me, a crucial part to that is tipping the balance of how much of my income comes from active streams, i.e. I have to keep turning up and working for that money, and how much of it is coming from passive income streams. And that's one of the reasons you hear me champion UW so much. Passive income streams don't seem to be readily understood or readily available to a lot of people. For me, UW offers that genuinely accessible to anybody as a really meaningful way of creating residual income. So that's kind of ultimately my message. The reason I've called my insight All I Know So Far, I'm still learning every day. I still joke about the fact that at the grand old age of 43, I'm still figuring out what I want to do with my life. But parenting changed me fundamentally. It's all about being present now. And that's really why I do what I do. And as I say, UW is a part of that. One big lesson that I want to share, I've learned many lessons, but I always come back to this one. Success is not the way to happiness. Happiness is the way to success, and that's about living in the present moment. So that's what I do. Purple, sorry for the people in the room who don't like purple. Purple is my favourite colour. Create Your Freedom is my branding that I operate under, because to me, those different streams of income and that residual income are where freedom comes from in life. It's not just about being a slave to money. So that's me. I'm done. Hopefully I was just about within time. As always, if you were, thank you for listening. These are my contact details and I will answer any questions that anybody's got.